Oh my goodness. I'm late, huh? Am I late? Yeah, I'm pretty late. Sorry about that. I guess time was flying. I was trying to get my notebook charged, and they pretty much have all of the electrical circuits blocked, so that I can't recharge my notebook. They've been able to disable some of the USB connectors in various places. Oh my goodness! So the time just snuck up on me because I was trying so hard to get to get it done right, to get everything done right, to get the recharging done. But since they are actually running the beta tests on controlling the electrical sockets in a very specific way, I wasn't able to get that done. So I get my wig going here, so I look a little better, than my homegirl look. Um, and oh, wow, yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to recharge this notebook very easily, because what they've been doing since they've been playing around with the electricity in this room as a part of the beta testing and the training. Now that Centerpoint has the electricity down to the minimum, they're really able to isolate things that are plugged in. So my connector over there on the floor, a multi-port connector, all of the USB ports on it are dead now. And that just happened since the power outage. And they were working at first, and now they're not working. And that's how I charge my computer. I even got another one in today, but it doesn't work because they're actually compromising the electrical grid behind the system. They're able to see what class of device you've got plugged in and then manipulate that circuit on a very individual basis. And that's what they're testing here. So I'm having a lot of trouble, finding a place to plug my notebook in, to try to fool the detectors in as many ways as I can, which only hardens their beta test, right? The more I find ways to test their system by opposing it, the harder their system gets. So last night when I was trying to sleep, they sent so much of that noxious hemp smoke in. I mean, I was staggering while I was walking down this little narrow hallway I've got here. I was actually staggering while I was walking and getting a headache. I finally just had to open the door to get enough fresh air in. And they ran so many loud machines out there this morning that I've never heard before. And here's the thing. Two things happened. I got food in today, which was great, but it was also not so good. Because just like I said, this bioweapon has put an organism inside my body. Could very well be an extraterrestrial organism. I don't discount that possibility. But it eats the food from my teeth. Okay? So during the time when I didn't have food, there was nothing for it to eat. And the sensation of it being there really died down. I mean, this one over here, which just sort of keeps a little mollusk tongue out underneath the cap in my tooth there all the time waiting to collect food. It was totally flat and surfaced to the gum. And I just felt so much reduced pain. And I felt reduced pain in my face as well. Reduced pain, the hanging brow that they're causing, the jowls hanging that they're causing. It was all just so reduced. And that was truly, truly wonderful. While it lasted, okay? But when they ran those big devices past my open door, I started getting symptomatic again. So I don't know if they expelled a different kind of gas or threw up some smart dust. I don't know what they did, but by the time I ate, it just complicated everything. It complicated everything for me. So it's good to have food, but it's also problematic. And I'm so tired. Oh my God. Every time I enter REM sleep, they wake me up. And I really think that's a part of the strategy that they're about, is waking me up so that I don't get any REM sleep, because as you know, REM sleep is very important to helping a person feel stabilized and normal, and helping a person feel connected, right? Because we get so many messages through our REM sleep. Ah, that's good tea with honey. This is some moringa tea. I took Bill Mount's advice, and moringa tea is really soothing. I put some ginger in it. I'm down to the end of my ginger, and I can't, they don't have any more at Sam's, part of the food shortage, right? Well, tonight I want to just talk to you. I'm so tired, I won't lie. The bioweapons are reactivating, which is encouraging because it means that they can be stopped, they can be killed. You know, it can be stopped, it can be killed. It's just a matter of getting it done. Better turn that radio off so I don't get any copyright charges. Yeah, I didn't have time to improve my appearance, put a little color on my eyes and mouth. Is that better or worse? Okay, well, I wasn't able to review very much of the internet because of my power problem with this computer. And it wants to hook up to the Android phone, which I completely wiped, but it still sees an Android because somebody cloned the Android phone. I mean, I saw my Android phone studying the location map. I saw my Android phone all the way over there by the Mercedes-Benz processing factory in that surveillance neighborhood where they're doing all the deep earth construction and have been doing it since I moved here. And they've got a lot of surveillance teams and empty corporate buildings and it's over by Top Golf. Top Golf is totally some kind of secret service surveillance agency hangout. And over there by them is where I saw this phone, the Android phone. But I turned it on last week to listen to some YouTube. And now this system wants to connect with it. So I tried the power wash that I used before to get a clean ability to do the charging, but it didn't work this time. They have control of every socket in this place. I'm thinking that one of the reasons why the Pettis family was boring holes through the wall was so that they could access these two electrical outlets to put their surveillance devices in place. That means that if you are living in America and you get invaded, by the European troops that want to take over, you might find yourself unable to use your telephone or recharge your computer or film what's happening, because they can control that too. I've seen them take my cameras out. Any peripherals I put in this machine, like a microphone or a camera, they can just take it right out. And I've been observing this over the past year and a half since I've been a prisoner here and unable to get out. Since they took my car in March, I've really been a prisoner here. And once the attacks on me got really, really obvious, it made things really, really hard for me to even think about leaving, because when I leave and walk out on the streets, they shoot those projectile weapons at me. And when I thought I was safe finally, and they shot me in the nose from the building or the street or across the street, I said, hey. So in a way, I feel like, oh my God, I'm so tired of being a prisoner. But I also know that my team picked the best of two evils. They picked the less damaging evil route for me. It was here or a mental hospital in Arizona or jail in Arizona under Tina Ainley, Superior Court, on those fake charges. So the Trump assassination attempt is a pretty big deal. And, I was a Trump supporter since he decided to run. I actually campaigned for him as an individual in West Virginia when I was driving back and forth from Connecticut to California, I think. Yeah, Connecticut to California. I actually had a really nice lunch with a bunch of nice people in a cafe in West Virginia, where we all really bonded on Donald Trump because I was a stranger in town. They were curious about me, small little town. And we had a good old talk. So in Arizona, when they came after me, it was under it was because I was a supporter of Donald Trump. I try not to mention that very much because it's hard for me to believe in conspiracies that big. But if I'd gotten my inheritances, I could have been an incredible force for good. So I want to have this conversation because I was able to listen to a couple of people on the air here at YouTube and elsewhere. I was able to check out Michael over there at Real Raw News, and he always gives me encouragement by making me think that there's actually a military working for my best interests out there. And then when I got into YouTube, I saw Michael Salla had done another interview with Jalila Starr. And that was very, very exciting to me because what he actually did was he took an excerpt from his interview where Jalila Starr says that there's going to be an attempt on the life of Donald Trump, but he will survive it. I don't think that this is the event that Cliff High is talking about and the future forecasters. I don't think this is the same event. I think that there'll be another event right behind this because they're describing a more celestial appearing event. So since I said keyword celestial, let's go into that. I'm going to tell you an allegory tonight. An allegory is a story where you've got one thing symbolizing something greater than itself. For example, if I create an allegory where I am an angel from heaven sent to judge the people of earth by going through an earthly experience for just one generation. That is that I've never, I've only been here, a limited number of times before, but I'm here to judge. But that's not really who I am. I'm simply Silver Rain Runningcloud, right? Born Letha Deck in Brooklyn, New York, this month, July, in 1956. That's who I am. But in the allegory, I'm an angel from heaven. And I've been sent here to live the worst possible life at a certain level of living. That every evil thing that could happen to me would happen to me as a part of going through this life. Because as an angel sent from the goddess, my job is to evaluate these people because they've been judged. Okay? That's just the story, right? I mean, in that story, I would say that in 2017, a mothership that I'd been watching since 1990 actually got into the atmosphere right over my head and communicated with me. This is just a part of the story. And told me, I'm saying, well, why am I going through so much pain? Why is it all so awful? And they said, because you're a judge. You're a judge of the people in this humanity, and you've got to see it. You've got to know it. So they didn't drag me through the dirt entirely. I mean, it could have been worse. Could have been worse. But I was here to get certain lessons. Not lessons. They're not lessons for me. They're observations. Okay? I'm here to observe certain things about what the people do and what life is like here. through firsthand experiences, so that I will understand the judgments that have been decided by the god and the goddess. It was important for them to be understood, I suppose, maybe so that we could continue our story of humanity with the understanding of Earthians in its proper perspective and the Earthian society. And now let's imagine further in this allegory where regular people stand for things bigger than themselves. Let's say that Elon Musk is Werner von Braun and Werner von Braun is Satan. Let's just say that for the purpose of getting the story out. So let's say that on Earth, my character is the ultimate good, and Elon Musk's character is the ultimate evil. And that's going to be the framework for my allegory. And those of you who know my rhetorical style will be relieved to know that I will not go off on any digressions. I'll keep going with this particular allegory. Elon Musk has told everyone that his father was a terrible man who did every terrible thing possible. Well, that's a long list. And the more you learn about Satanism and the devil worshippers, the more you know what that confession is really about. Like Woody Allen, his father even took up with a stepdaughter. And that's really disgraceful. I had a stepfather, and I loved my stepfather very much. And my stepfather admired and respected me. But he never behaved inappropriately, because I'm pretty sure he knew my mom would take his butt right out. She was very sensitive to that kind of immorality and that kind of crime. And I'm sure that she warned him very well that he better watch his mind. But for his stepfather to act like Woody Allen and actually go forward on a sexual, intimate, romantic relationship with his stepdaughter, it's incest one step removed. It's disgraceful. It's a violation of the trust of the mother. I mean, I felt so sorry for the Rosemary baby, Miro Farrow. Oh, that tea is so soothing. I haven't had coffee in a couple of days now, because I'm trying to get some rest. They wake me up every 2 hours. Okay, so the allegory. Oh, they turned off my fan. Oh, okay. They've affected this particular charging unit over here. They've turned off the fan here. Oh, okay, no. I don't know how that happened. Okay. I keep reading about all of these things that Elon Musk is doing. And I've seen where Elon Musk has land. And Elon Musk has land on Indian reservations. And I'm sure he didn't pay for it. In Arizona, he's got a Tesla factory there. And you'll see little Tesla warehouses or sales shops. I saw one tucked away in Brownsville. You know, he's got the whole beach there right at the border of the Gulf of Mexico to Mexico. He's got all of that, and they built something underground there. All of those falcons that he's got, 3 falcons there, they're not real. They are just tin sculptures. They're not real spaceships. I think the one at the Johnson Space Museum in Houston, not directly in Houston, but close to Houston, but it's called Houston, I think that's a real falcon. You know, it's got the scorch marks on it. The ones at Boca Chica have no scorch marks. They look like museum sculptures. So Elon Musk's father was a very evil man. Why would we give the child of an evil man the money that the man made from murdering the people of Africa? Elon Musk made his money speculating on emeralds and other raw materials from Africa. They had an emerald mine. Do you know that means child labor? Do you know that means economic oppression and manipulation of African peoples? And then he was born in Pretoria, South Africa. Well, South Africa was notorious before Israel seized the stage for violations of humanity, of human rights, for ultimate evil. South Africa was the standard, wasn't it? South Africa was the standard. If you wanted to talk about the worst brand of racism in the world, you talked about South Africa. You talked about South Africa. And that's where Elon is from. And then we welcome him here in America, where our values are supposed to be values that respect human rights more than we respect anything. We're supposed to be the people that respect human rights more than anything else. We're supposed to be the people that say, we don't care where you come from. We don't care what you look like. The only thing we care about is how you can be productive in our society. That's all that matters if you want to be an American. Isn't that what we said? Isn't that what we told everybody? If you want to be American, all you have to do is it right. You just have to do it right. Okay, so continue with the allegory. In 2017, I saw ships entering the atmosphere. And they communicated with me telepathically that Earth has a destiny, and that this is the time when that destiny shall be fulfilled. And that while I'm not born very often, I am born during times like these. And that I came from heaven, which is my home, to be a part of these times and to see why these judgments were made. By the time 2017 came, I had come to a lot of my own conclusions. By then, I had met Sheldon Epstein. By then, my brother Andre Martin Tapetti had robbed me, and my brother and sister stood with him in that robbery. By then, I had known a lot of really, really, really bad people. In fact, I had not met anyone that I would call a good person. And a lot of the times, people that knew that they were not good people would not be my friend. They would go away from me. It was as if my very presence was an admonishment to them. And I noticed that, and it used to really puzzle me. I used to be like, well, why did they just reject me like that? Right? So like if you've got friends in college and their parents are drug dealers and pimps and prostitutes, and that's how they got the money to go to private school, because crime was their only way up and out of the ghetto. Well, they're not going to be friends with you, the child of a college, the child of generations of college graduates studying humanities and literature and music. You know, they're not going to be a part of high class society because they're criminal class. But the criminal class got the wealth. And it came to the crushing head when you saw the rappers. When you saw the rappers getting all the money while people like me, who are honestly contributing high value assets to society, were being swept underneath the rug. Well, that was when you could see that this society had chosen criminality over honor and integrity. The rappers were just one sign. And they're just employees. They had producers who were behind it all, producers that are behind the problems that the Arabs are having with the Gaza Strip and their other territories, because evil is real here. And I was sent here to observe evil. And so much of it came as a surprise to me. That was how I started to suspect that I hadn't really been here before, because there's nobody who could have come here in multiple lives who would be as surprised by the shenanigans as I am. Who would be as surprised by the evil here? You see, a person of my intelligence, from my family line, by this point in time, I would know how to exploit all of those evil weaknesses. I would be like a wicked queen or something. I'd be Elon. I'd be the Black American Elon Musk. Because evil would know it could trust me to fulfill its plans, to subjugate humanity, to see us on our knees, to make us all slaves and deprive us of our mental liberty, and then to just ultimately turn us into meat. I mean, what else? What else can they really gain after your slaves don't have any work to do, or they'll quit working for free? What are you going to do with them if you don't value their lives? And we're living in a world where our lives are not valued. Our lives are not valued if we're people that are decent, if we're people that have integrity. Now, if you're willing to, be the child of a crime boss that gets murdered before you go to college, and then, sell real estate to other criminals and make that your living, then you've been smart, right? You've taken what's real and you've turned it into something of positivity for yourself, for your economy, for your family. And I didn't know these things. These were all just things I didn't know. Everything I did with honor and integrity. I did with honesty. I took that story of Abraham Lincoln walking a mile to return a nickel that he had been given mistakenly. That kind of stuff is the stuff that stuck with me, not how to be a Madoff. So in this allegory, you've got me, an angel from heaven, living a human life, being subjected to all kinds of events that are common in this humanity, and coming to the conclusion that I haven't met a good man, not a single one. When I look through the people and the encounters and the experiences, I don't see a single time that anyone of honor stood with me to fight with me. I don't see a single time when people said, hey, that's wrong, that's immoral, we shouldn't let that be. I just saw people saying, oh, you're the victim? You're the one we bully? Well, let me get my punches in. That's what I've met, with the exception of my children, of course. My children have made me very proud of them. And when I've seen them behaving publicly, they behaved with integrity and morality. I remember once my daughter was working as a server at the Capitol Grill restaurant in New York City. And one of her wealthy cousins from Adela Cepeda's family, the people that stole the Chicago education pension fund money, the investment firm that stole that money, she started that investment firm after her husband died from a very exotic form of cancer. And her husband was my husband's cousin. And he'd gone to Harvard twice, Harvard undergrad and then Harvard Law School. And his father was Cornel Davis of Illinois, the first Black in the House of Representatives of Illinois. So Albert came from a very prestigious family, but when he graduated from law school, suddenly a Colombiana, a woman from Colombia who had gone to Radcliffe, showed up. And all of the American girls that we had lined up for him to meet with the prospect of marriage, she knocked all of them right out of the water. I mean, she had a Radcliffe degree. She was ruthless and greedy and materialistic. She had very active public signs of affection with him. in public. And, he had not grown up with that kind of attention. He was a, he wasn't a playboy. He was a studious boy. So when she would be sitting, at the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago, sitting on his lap and kissing him while sitting on his hard-on, he really liked that. That was like big thrill. And, so he ended up marrying her instead of an American woman. And within, I don't know, 7-8 years, he was dead. He was dead. And they even had the Scottish bagpipes play at his funeral. So he must have been a Scottish Rite Mason or something. But, he had gotten kind of mean with her anyway, He'd gotten unkind. I mean, he wasn't respectful to my husband. He'd stand him up for racquetball and stuff like that. But they had children, daughters. And their daughters were the age of my children. In fact, one of her daughters was born the day my daughter was due. My daughter was due, but my daughter came 3 weeks early. But my daughter was due the day one of her daughters was born. So her daughters come with a friend to my daughter's restaurant, and then they try to walk out without paying the bill. And my daughter says, you can't do that. And she says, well, can't I just pay you later? And my daughter's like, no. And they had a little bit of a scene there in the restaurant. But that was when I knew my daughter was made of really good stuff, because she could have said, oh, wow, Adela's family is influential in Chicago. Adela has gained a lot of influence and power and wealth from the Chicago Children's Teachers Pension. Maybe I should be nice to her daughter so that they will see me in good favor and include me in their group because I'm a part of the crowd. My daughter could have done that, and my daughter was savvy enough to know that that was a possible move that she could make. She knew from the time she was a little girl what to do when she was facing the opposition, even when it came to race. Very smart child, both of my kids. And when my daughter told me that story about herself, I said, okay, her orientation is good. I don't have to worry about her. She's not going to be bought. She's going to have integrity and honor. She's willing to take the hits and be good. Because, her boss might have said, you insulted, rich people, right? But my daughter was like, no, you don't get to rip off the Capitol Grill. I'm not going to help you steal food from the place where I work. You can forget about that. So I think my children are good. And my son is an Eagle Scout. Well, Eagle Scouts, you might be able to show me some Eagle Scouts that don't have honor, but you can't tell me they didn't read about what honor is and learn it all the time. I mean, Eagle Scouts are based in honor and integrity and self-respect. And my son was not only an Eagle Scout, but a lodge chief, Silver Bar. He even went to Philmont. They camped out so much. Even in the rain and the storm, they went camping on the weekends to Sequoia in Connecticut. So I know my son is a man of integrity and honor. I know that because I watched him. I watched his decisions and the things he made. So I'd say my children are good people. And my children deserve to escape any judgment or fate of the earth. So you've got a world that's filled with criminals that are getting rewards and good people that are being tortured, punished, put in detention camps, put in concentration camps, being shot in the streets, being demoted, losing their jobs. Everywhere you look, good people are facing the consequences of being good in a corrupt and evil society. Now, I don't know how global this is. I don't know, what happens so much in other nations. in this world. So I don't say that I should know what the fate of the entire planet should be or anything like that. I just know that what's happening in America is not acceptable to me. And I don't understand why Elon Musk has more privileges and assets than I do when he's an evil person. And he's not even an American, but he can have land and I can't. His dreams can come true, but mine can't. His vision of the future can become our reality, but I am living in a concentration camp, being subjected to bioweapons, having extraterrestrial bio creatures living inside of me as a habitat. The Nazis have been here in Houston since the Nazis came to America. That means that there were already Germans and Jews waiting to make a cushiony landing for them here. They took over NASA. NASA created products and did research, but none of it filtered down into the public education system, not even a tiny little bit. Yet, hundreds, thousands of European-based corporations, privately owned, have been built upon NASA research and use NASA patents. And now I read constantly, Elon Musk is doing this, Elon Musk is doing that, and I'm trapped in this room, knowing that this is the safest place that they can store me until the big change comes. That the reason that they're letting me be a prisoner here is because it's so much more dangerous for me out there among the populace, where the Nazis have their agents and the Mormons have their agents and the Jews have their agents, and they're all looking to get rid of me because of my inheritances and because of my integrity. So I'm the good angel, and I'm here on earth, and Elon Musk is the demon, the devil. His father was a demon, and he's a demon too. And the allegory is that the fight between good and evil. Right now, it looks like Elon is winning. He's saying he's going to plant a colony on Mars when we all know that Mars has already been colonized, don't we? Which means that he, what? He's going to build a corporation on Mars using American assets and then send employees there to occupy his asset on Mars that he builds with American money. Is that what he's saying? Because we already heard about the fact that Mars has already been colonized. In fact, some of the theorists say that Mars colonized Earth. And if you think about Earth as nothing more than a mining operation from a time-traveling company that goes through all the planets and mines the planets, especially planets at a certain stage in their existence. And they come and they take all these valuable assets off of the planet to use in intergalactic manufacturing. What do you think about that? So Elon Musk could very well be planning that. You see how deep this got since yesterday and how heavy my brow is? I think maybe they sent smoke in here. I think the smoke activates the creatures. And I think that whatever they were doing outside, they ran a lot of gas and they ran a lot of really loud machinery. 2-3 different things that were abnormal that would have stirred up a lot of dust while I had my door open. And I had to have my door open because the smell of smoke in here was so thick. Every time I try to get into REM sleep, they wake me up. They wake me up with the smoke. They wake me up with noise. They wake me up even with Foxy. He's got, he can be controlled, I think, a little bit. Because he will wake me up. And I'll be entering my REM sleep and they pull me out of it, so that I can never be fully restored. But it doesn't matter because I came from heaven. I came from the divine. When I had my near-death experience, I went to the primordial energy. And that was home. I went to God. I went straight to God. And everybody acted like they knew me. Like, oh, look, she's back. Did you finish your mission? It was kind of like that. And, I've had people on this planet tell me that they think I'm a nun or, I even had a girl who became a Jehovah's Witness tell me that she thinks I'm one of the 144,000. And she told me that when we were in our 20s. So people have recognized me as different from the rest of the people here, as someone a little more connected to divinity, somebody a little more removed from this reality. And I'm sure I've been abused for that by the evil ones here, but they haven't been able to destroy me. They haven't been able to destroy me. I was listening to Kia Pruitt interviewing John F. Kennedy Jr., the real one. And I'm pretty sure he is the real JFK. And I'm actually pretty sure that Carrie Cassidy is Caroline Kennedy. Not only because she called her Project Camelot, but because that was just the vibe I got from her from early on. And if you look at the John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carrie Cassidy, you will see that they really do favor each other quite a lot. But none of them look like a child that JFK and Jackie O would have had. They don't look like John F. Kennedy to me. So there's another layer to the layers of mystery about the Kennedy situation. But I find it very interesting that just like me, John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., the real one, the one that Kia Pruitt interviewed, he, like me, has been deprived of his inheritance. And he, like me, came from a family loaded with political people. Bose Deck was a co-founder of Lima, Oklahoma. And his father before him, Martin Edwards, was an elder in the Mill Spring Baptist Church. He was one of the founding fathers of the Mill Spring Baptist Church, which means he was one of the founders of Mill Spring. And then my mother, of course, was a judge. And everybody in between were school teachers, pretty much on both sides. A lot of school teachers. And then there's Carl Mabry, the railroad conductor. When they found out that he was black, they made his retirement very, very hard and humiliating for him. It was very sad. And at his funeral, all the white people sat in the back. All the Europeans sat in the back. And they didn't even come to talk to our family. There were rows between us and them. And then a few of them came and said, I didn't know that Carl had African Americans in his family. They didn't know because he could pass. And here's the funniest part. His wife, Betty Butler, she also left me an inheritance. And she was passing too. Because once the Europeans made race a liability, once they made race the difference between economic death and economic survival, a lot of people just passed if they could. And they didn't really want to be European. So a lot of them married each other. One reason why Aaron Spelling hated his daughter? Because Aaron Spelling's mother's black. All you have to do is look at her. Carol Channing was black. She admitted it when it became acceptable for her to. Ricky Ricardo, Desi Arnaz, black. The founder of I Love Lucy, Canned Laughter. What do you call it when you syndicated television? Black. But you tried to underplay it because the Europeans made it so hard through their control of communications. through their control of communications, they were able to make race a factor. And I found race to be the most deciding factor in my entire life. Racism has defined the pain of my life. That's why when I look at myself as a judge of humanity, I don't see how we're going to give Europeans a pass on this. I don't see how Europeans from Earth are actually going to be able to leave this timeline and go into the one where people survive. I don't see how it's going to happen because they're so objectionable and they're so blind to it. If I saw even one good sign that Europeans knew how much racism causes good people pain, I would not have the opinion that I have. But ever since 2017, when the mothership entered the atmosphere and the divine spoke to me and told me, we didn't find any good people either. And that's why we're here. We're going to take care of this situation. But we wanted you to understand what happened here. Why? 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 And if you want to know why, look at Elon Musk. Look at all the land in my country, America, that he's stealing. You see? So in this allegory where I'm an angel from God judging people and Elon Musk is the devil, you can see that the devil's stealing property. He's stealing property from angels, from divinity. He's stealing my property. He's stealing my power. He's taking all the power to decide, all the power to create a future, all the power of the economy. And the Europeans are delivering it up to him, and the media is treating him like he's a king. So in this allegory of good against evil, we all know that good always wins. It's just a matter of time